Arsenal Football Club officially bottom of the table after 3 games played, 0 goals scored in 270 minutes of football. I'm your host, Aaron, Football Tragics. I'm joined by Tony. I've got Brinkow and Baxter, 2 Arsenal fans here with me. Thoughts on the game? To start with you, Baxter.
This is the worst lineup Arteta has ever put out. You've got a 5-back line which consists of 2 players who don't even belong in the championship. Where do you begin? Where do you begin?
As soon as I saw that Arsenal team named, I looked at that 5 at the back, and I was speaking to you, Baxter, before the game started, and I said this is the worst back line I've seen in a long while for Arsenal. And yeah, 7 minutes in, it started. It was Gundogan. Somehow he's like 5'8", somehow out jumps Callum Chambers. I'm just watching the goals back here now. And yeah, 7 minutes in, starts straight away, 1-0 down, and I think just from there, it's collapsed. Not long after, 2-0. Not long after that, it's a red card, 3-0, 4-0, and it finishes 5-0. Brinkow, what were your thoughts on the game initially?
Yeah, I got to agree with Baxter. I mean, I look at putting Kolasinac in the lineup, and I just think it's been well documented throughout the summer that Kolasinac is leaving, and all of a sudden he's one of our starting centre-backs. I think there are a few things that have happened over the first few weeks of the season that we can't help. The likes of Ben White, who's supposed to be, our starting centre-back moving forward. He's out with COVID at the moment. We've got Gabriel, who's our other starting centre-back, who's out injured. So, I mean, that's already a big issue in itself. But to put a player in that we're trying to get rid of, that, they're talking about terminating his contract, I can't understand that at all. And, it all seemed to just go downhill from there.
Tony, thoughts on the game? United fan, joy to watch, or are you? I don't know how you feeling.
Obviously, growing up with these 2 boys that are on the pod now, it's quite a good result for me to have these guys on the pod. I think I messaged Brink out today and asked him if he wanted to come on, and his first thing he said was he's stitching me up. So yeah, I mean, it's not, obviously we all thought Man City were going to win. I don't think either of these boys came in and thought Arsenal were taking points away from this game, but to see it go 5-0, yes, there was a red card, but this could have been 8-9-0, if I'm being honest. Like, there was, what is it? I've got the stats here. The second half alone, they had 19 shots, Man City. Like, Arsenal didn't even have a shot on target all game.
I was mentioned sorry, go on. Go on.
I was just going to say, you make a good point, right? And I think, a big thing was it could have been 10-0 or something like that. Like, the amount of saves that Leno made, it really could have been 10-0. Like, it was, Baxter, you made a comment before we jumped on that, if you don't cry, if you don't laugh, you got to cry. And it's like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, what do I do? What do we do?
I think Leno was pulling out the saves after it was 4-0 down, and he was like, well, there's nothing else I can lose here, so let's just have a go at it. Why not start at the get-go? Instead of waiting until we're 4-0 down, 5-0 down, go from the get-go and save every shot that comes your way and play like your life's on the line, because really, it is.
I mean, you mentioned those saves, which makes you beg the question, why did you spend $30 million on the backup keeper when you could have spent that money elsewhere? Why did you need, you had Matty Ryan last year, and, he might not be the best keeper in the world, but it would have cost you $5-10 million, and he's reserve keeper. You don't need a new keeper. Bernd Lenner's fine. He's a good keeper. Yes, he's got an error in him, as a lot of keepers do. But he showed that he is Premier League quality. He can save games on his own. But as you said, at this point, it was already 4-5-0. And obviously, Brinko, you mentioned you had a couple injuries. You had the likes of both 2 starting centre backs, Gabriel and Ben White, $50 million transfer, both injured or COVID. Thomas Partey didn't start; he's injured as well. So yes, you've been a little unlucky with the injuries, but that 5 at the back, it's never going to work. I think Arteta for some reason insists on playing this 5 at the back when he just doesn't know what to do. I think he just goes, 5 at the back will work. And that's just to set up for failure because he doesn't have the players to do 5 at the back. I've said it time and time again. You need to have a specific set of players to be able to achieve that game. Tierney's not a left wing back; he's a left back. Kolasinac is not fit to play centre back, and the list just goes on. Callum Chambers, as Baxter said, he's not Premier League quality, and either is Rob Holding. So I think just from minute 1, before it even started, Arteta got the game wrong. And I want to ask the question: how long do you guys give Arteta? Are you Arteta in? Are you Arteta out? Thoughts on that?
Brinko, you go first.
Look, I think it's bigger than Arteta. To answer your question, I think I'd probably give him until Christmas. But if we lose every game until Christmas, I wouldn't give him that long. If we're really kind of in dire straits at Christmas time, then I'd look elsewhere. But I think it's bigger than Arteta, right? Like, people keep bringing up Conte's name, and you can bring Conte in, but I think it's, as I said, I think it's bigger than that. Like, I don't think you could bring anyone in the world in and it's going to fix the problems. I've said this before, that it's, and everyone says it, that it's the club owners and it's the whole system in place. You need to, this club needs some, or this team needs some serious investment and some pulling apart and rebuilding, because it's just, it's going backwards still. And you made a good point as well, that Arteta seems to not know how to kind of work on the run sort of thing. And I think that's the big thing that I saw today, was the 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whatever you want to call it, wasn't working. Yet we continued to play that way until the 90th minute. We continued after conceding 1, 2, 3 goals. We go into half time and then we come back out and we're still shaped up like that, and we go and concede another. I can't justify that. Like, make a change, switch something up. So I'm Arteta in for now, but I think it's a lot bigger than just Arteta.
Baxter, thoughts?
For me, I think it's not on the owners anymore, because he's come out and said, I'm willing to splice the cash, and it's been proven this window that we're the highest payers this window, in front of United, who have got Varane there and now Ronaldo joining. Yet we somehow failed to identify the correct player to play for the club or the system, whichever the one you want to argue for. It comes down to the board members recruiting, the scouts, Arteta. It comes down to all of them. We need to start getting players in that want to play for the badge and for the club, the fans, Arteta, and we want to remove the players out. You got Lucas Torreira, who's sort of said fuck you to Arsenal and said, well, I'm staying in Spain. I'm not doing my 2 weeks quarantine, but no, I'll go to Italy, where I really wanted to go, and now he's out on loan. You got Lacazette, who is now in COVID, but he had COVID 2 weeks ago, but he doesn't want to play for the club anymore. What can you do? We need the players that want to be here, and we want to get rid of the players who don't want to be here and want to go elsewhere. Thank you for your time, but you got to move on.
Yeah. Obviously, you both make some good points there. Brinko, you mentioned Conte. He is a 5 at the back manager. He showed that he can do it, and he's done in the Premier League with Chelsea, proven success. I think Conte would come in and be successful in the short term. He might turn around, might get you back into a European spot. However, will he stay long term? I think the reason they're trusting Arteta is because they believe he's there for a long-term project. However, it doesn't look like he can grind out those results. The board's giving him this money now, and has he recruited the right players? Possibly not. I think you need a right back, maybe a better CDM. Just, there's plenty of options there. I think that Odegaard transfer was a strange one, because you have the likes of Smith Rowe, Bukayo Saka, these creative players. Why did you need another creative player? I think Arteta went with who was available and who wanted to join. I think Odegaard wanted to join because it's first team football. He's not getting that Real Madrid, and I think Arteta thought, yep, come aboard. I've said it time and time again. I think Arteta's gone if he loses the North London derby, which is, I believe, in maybe a month's time. I think if he does lose that game, that's the final straw, and they'll have enough. But look, if three games in, it's a horrible start. Don't get me wrong, but you've played both City and Chelsea, so he has time, and not much, but he has time to turn it around. I think I've heard he's been given about 5 games to turn it around. That was before this game, so if we're counting, it's 4 games from now. So he now needs to start turning it around because he's got Norwich next. He won in the cup, which is fair enough, but against a West Brom under-13s team, basically. I think he needs to turn it around. Do I believe he will? No, I don't. I think he's gone after that North London derby. Tony, I'll cross to you just finally. Final thoughts. Arteta in, Arteta out.
You keep saying that if he gets past this North London derby, if he loses that, he's out. I think if he doesn't get 3 points from Norwich, he's gone. If they come back and they lose it sounds bad, but a relegation battle for Arsenal, if they lose that and fall 3 points behind their closest rival at the moment, I think he's gone. I just, like I said, they've got Norwich and they take on Burnley, who, as we know, are stubborn to break down. And then they go against Tottenham. If they don't get points against Norwich, they're going to be lucky to have 3 points at the end of that time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love.
Final thoughts from anybody before we wrap this shambolic Arsenal performance up?
Yeah, I'm scratching my head now. FIFA 22 is looking impressive. I don't know, who do I do a Reba with, Norwich or Arsenal?
Oh, God. Well, yeah, look, it was fun a result. There is room for improvement. You can only go up from here, I suppose. As we said at the beginning of the pod, at bottom of the league now, they're going to want to hope Norwich get a pretty heavy loss this week. Otherwise, yeah, they could be bottom of the league come end of match week 3. Anyway, we've been the Football Tragics. Thanks for joining us, both you guys, Tony, as always, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, boys.
Peace.